afternoon to all our wonderful viewers from all across the country. I welcome you all to the Rose of Sharon Foundation Youth Empowerment Program, August edition 2020. It is my pleasure to be with you here today. Today we are going to be looking at a special topic, especially at this time in the history of our country and global affair. I have three wonderful speakers here with me today. We are going to be listening to them in a short while. Before we proceed into the business of the day, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Nkem, and I am the coordinator of the Rose of Sharon Foundation, and I will also be your anchor for today's event. I would want to very quickly welcome our founder, our dear mommy, Apostle Folorunsho Alakija, with her welcome address.
On behalf of the Chairman and Board of Trustees of the Rose of Sharon Foundation, I welcome you all to the first edition of our Youth Empowerment Program for 2020. Today's event is the sixth we have organized since our first edition in 2017, and our first virtual one due to the COVID-19 pandemic, in line with government restrictions on public gatherings. We thank God for the impact these empowerment programs have been making in the lives of our youths, and we hope that today will not be an exception. The Rose of Sharon Foundation Youth Empowerment Program, which we fondly call YEP, is the Foundation's career development and capacity building program. It's for graduates and undergraduates, job seekers, working class, and self-employed youths. Since the inception of this program, we have had thousands of those that have been impacted and still counting. The theme for today's program is building personal competence to harness existing opportunities in the time of change. The year 2020 has been a challenging one for all of us all over the world due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It has impacted both the developing and developed world, and the economy has not been spared. According to a KPMG Business Impact report of April 2020, it says, and I read, that the rapid outbreak of the COVID-19 presents an alarming health crisis that the world is grappling with. In addition to the human impact, there is also significant economic, business, and commercial impact being felt globally. In other words, the effect of the pandemic has permanently created a new norm in societies and economies around the globe. However, it's not all gloom and doom. This is because while some businesses are becoming redundant, losing market share, or closing shop, some others are actually springing up and taking over the markets. So, what is the difference? There's an adage that says, change is the only thing that is constant in life. Whether we like it or not, COVID-19 pandemic has changed our lives, the way we work, the way we do business, and even the way we socialize and interact with one another. One major landmark of our current environment is the high dependence on technology to carry out our businesses. The internet has become the hub where both business and social interactions also are not left out of it, as churches have had to resort to different online platforms to conduct their services. We are doing the same today, as opposed to our traditional way of organizing our YEP conference, because we are transmitting via Zoom. Therefore, for any individual or organization to stay relevant, they must be ready to adapt quickly to the change and equip themselves with the knowledge, skills, and attitudes required for the new phase of life. I'd like to tell you a short story about the typewriter. There was a time when the typewriter used to be the mode of business writing in big organizations all over the world. There were manual ones and there were also electric ones. Any organization that didn't have a typewriter then was considered as small and unstructured. Secretaries who operated the typewriter efficiently were considered as assets to their organizations. However, with the advent of computers, there was a decline in the demand for typewriters. The manufacturers either refused or were unable to develop competencies that were required to adapt to the change of technology. And this resulted in the death of their business and loss of jobs as well. Any company which still uses typewriting machines today is not reckoned with. This story shows us that the world is evolving and technology is always advancing. The competencies that were required 2 years ago are becoming obsolete. It is therefore important that we stay relevant and reinvent ourselves and our businesses by sharpening and honing our skills constantly through training, learning, new ways of doing business, new ways of doing things, adopting new technologies, and modifying our mode of doing business. It's only the agile organizations and individuals that will be able to meet the needs of their customers and bosses. Today, we have seasoned professionals who will teach you various things, and I'd like to list them. 1, what the business and career opportunities that abound in this time of change are. 2, where these opportunities can be found. 3, where to identify the competencies that are required in this new era that we are in. 4, how to develop and improve on these competencies. And last but not the least, how to take advantage of them for your competitive advantage. I have no doubt in my mind that you will have a memorable learning experience after this afternoon. I thank all our special guests in the persons of, and I'd like to mention their names, Mr. Oyedotun Adewumi Enoch, Head of Partners Relations Department of the world-renowned Christian Broadcasting Network that we usually know as CBN. Mrs. Joy Nkechi Owo, Lead Consultant, Epic Joy Consulting Limited, a human resource management professional and certified trainer with over 10 years of working experience. Mr. Adeleke Temitayo Adeoti, a business development, procurement, and human resources expert with Philips Outsourcing Services Limited. I thank you all for giving your time to impact our youth, and I'd like to pray that God will continually use you and bless you in all your endeavors in the mighty name of Jesus. I'd like to encourage every one of you who are here today and who have joined us by Zoom to make sure that you focus on everything that is being said here today, because there's a lot that you're going to be able to take home and that you're going to gain. I believe that usually with virtual events, people get distracted. make sure that you're not distracted. And I'd like to thank all our staff who have worked diligently, who have worked very hard to ensure that this program is a successful one. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for all you've done. Well done. I'm very proud of you. And I hope that you will all take notes and not just be listening, so that you can achieve a lot more from this program. Thank you for listening to what I have to say, but be more attentive to the rest of what's going to happen here online. God bless you.
What a wonderful welcome note from our founder. God bless you, ma. Yes, let's quickly go into the business of the day. Let's listen to what our speakers will have to tell us concerning this topic we are here to review today. We'll be discussing building personal competence to harness existing opportunities in the time of change. Yes, in the time of change. There's a global change. Many of us entered this year. The January or February we used to know is not the same. Things have changed, and we are in that change now. Our mommy did mention that the only thing that is constant in nature is change, and I will agree with her. I will agree with her. And she also did mention in her message that adaptation to change is very key as youth, for you to be able to maneuver what is happening today around the world. And then, like she did mention, even though we have a lot of lockdown, a lot of businesses are shutting down, people are losing their jobs. However, the way you are able to adapt to this change will determine if you are going to be negatively affected or positively impacted. Let's hear what our speakers will have to tell us on how we can, as youth of this nation, build personal competence to harness the opportunity that are here, even in this period of change. And I'm sure it's something you want to hear, it's something you want to learn about. So, like mommy has employed all of you to make sure you stay focused and then take notes. Having said that, let me quickly again introduce our speaker. Mommy has done that. Let me introduce our speakers again. From my immediate right, I have Mr. Adeoti Adeleke Temitokwe. He is a renowned business professional with many years of experience and is passionate about delivering solutions, as in like in a period where we are now. So many people need solutions, especially the youth of this nation. Mr. Adeoti will welcome you to the platform.
Thank you, Mrs. Udechukwu. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And then on my immediate right, I have Mr. Enoch Adewumi, who is a seasoned communications professional. He's a youth pastor as well. He deals with a lot of youth, and with experience, he's here today to tell us how we can harness the opportunities that are abound in this difficult time for us in Nigeria and all over the world. Then in my far left, I have my dear sister, Mrs. Joy Nkechi Owo. Mrs. Joy has over 15 years experience in the area of human resource. She is a coach, a trainer, a strategic mentor, and on and on. I welcome you.
Thank you very much
to this program. Without wasting much time, I want to quickly invite Mr. Adeoti. Let's hear what he has to tell us. Mr. Adeoti, welcome.
Okay, thank you so much, Mrs. Udechukwu. Good afternoon, viewers. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm glad to be here. First of all, I would like to say a very big thank you to the founder, our mommy, the house, the person of Apostle Folorunso Alakija. Thank you for imparting us. Thank you for imparting this generation. Thank you for being a source of blessing to this generation. I can wholly pray that God Almighty will continue to bless you, continue to give you long life and prosperity. Amen. Let's go ahead and let us praise the Lord. Just say praise the Lord. Okay, we're talking about competence, building personal competence to harness opportunities in the time of change. And I would like to start by saying, when you build competence, it boosts your confidence. Building competence builds your confidence. It is similar to cleaning a house. It never stops. When you stop cleaning your house, dust collects in your house. So competence never ends. We continue to build competence. In the opening speech, we heard that things are changing globally. Competencies are being defined globally. So in year 2018, there was a forum by the World Economic Forum. They had a forum and there was a report that was released. And that report was titled, The Future of Jobs. The report was titled, The Future of Jobs. And it was stated in the report that by year 2022, no less than 54% of the global employees, the global workforce, will need to update or entirely change their competence. By year 2022, nothing less than 54% of the global workforce will need to either update or entirely change their competence. And this is due to technological advancement and digitalization that we are seeing today, both in our private and in our business lives. So building competence is very key to our existence as youth, very key to our future, very key to our career. So today we're going to be talking about competence. How do I build competence? What competence is? What are the importance of me building competence? The difference between competence and skills. How do I build personal competence? Then how do I leverage on my competence to take advantage of the existing opportunities we find around today? In the words of Brian Tracy says, the future belongs to the competent, to those who are very good at what they do. It doesn't belong to the well-meaning. You might be dreaming about the future. You may have fantastic plans about the future. But the future belongs to the competence, to the competent. It is not about your well-meaning. It belongs to those who are good at what they do. Jaggi Vasudev, some of us know him. He's a popular Sadhguru. When you go online on YouTube, you see. Jaggi Vasudev says, to be successful in life, do not seek reward. Seek competence. Do not seek reward. Seek competence. Be good at what you do. Do nothing other than the best that you can do. So that takes us to what competence is. What is competence? In my own definition, competence is the ability to do something well. It is the ability to do something well. It means you have the capability to execute a function efficiently and effectively. It can also be said to be or be described to be the capability for you to deploy, for you to use a set of related skills, knowledge, and abilities, attitude, to be able to get a job done successfully. So when you are competent on the job, it means that you have some ways of thinking, some ways of behaving that matters for performance on that job. Let's say, for example, you sell, you're a trader, you're a business person. The ability for you to connect and establish trust with your customers can affect your sales. So that ability for you to engender, for you to bring up trust between you and your customer can be said to be one of the competencies that you need, one of the competencies or tendencies that you need to be successful on that job. One of the competencies that you need to be successful on that job. So why do we need to build competence? We said earlier that is paramount. At this point, we need to build competence. We reported about the report of the future of jobs from the World Economic Forum that says that in 2 years' time, more than half of the population of the workforce of the world may find themselves out of job or totally irrelevant to the new normal. So it is important for us to build competence because, one, it makes us to be relevant. Two, it makes us to be competitive. It also allows you and affords you to be able to acquire global skills. Global skills and knowledge. When you build competence, it makes you to be able to acquire global skills, global knowledge as well. It makes you, you are in school, you're a student, you're a young graduate, looking for a job, looking for opportunities. We are at a time in this life, in this world, that you cannot get a top-notch opportunity, a top-notch jobs without you getting the required competence that is needed for you to be able to perform in the marketplace. So that's why it's good for us to build competence. So we've spoken about what competence is. We've spoken about the importance of competence. What are the levels of competence? Or before then, I would like us to quickly look at the difference between skills and competence. When we say skills, when we say competencies, many people sometimes mix this together. Skills are learned abilities for you to be able to perform a particular function. For example, for you to be able to write code, you need to go and learn how to code. Computer coding, learning. So skills are learned opportunities for you to be able to perform a particular function. Competencies, on the other hand, they are knowledge and behaviors that you need to be successful in a job. Now let me tie the two together. You need skill to do a job successfully. You need competence to be successful in a job. Skills are specific. You either learn how to do a surgery or you don't know it. Skills are very specific. Competencies are broad. It's a combination of your knowledge, your skills, and your attitude. Combination of your knowledge, your skills, and your attitude. Quickly, because of our time, I would like to take us to the 3 levels of competencies that you need to be successful as a student, as a young graduate, as a young professional. You need 3 levels of competencies to be successful. Number 1 is what we call personal competence. The second is what I call interpersonal competence. And the third one is the business competencies. Now, personal competence. What do I mean by that? These are competencies that you need to develop, build from within yourself, such as integrity, determination, tenacity, taking initiative. These are personal competencies that you need as a person that is aspiring to be successful, for you to develop and build to be successful in your chosen field of career. And we're talking about interpersonal competencies. Just as we know, interpersonal relationship. This talks about negotiation. How do you work with others to ensure that you get the job done? Negotiation, communication, engagement. These are examples of interpersonal competencies. I'm sure that during our interactions, we'll be able to further discuss about this. And the last one is business competence. You need to know about resource management. At this time that we are, that profits are very lean, as a business owner, you need to know how to manage your resources. You need to know how to work with minimal input of resources and getting the maximum output of results for your business. You need to learn about engagement. You need to learn about business vision, and so on and so forth. These are the 3 levels of competencies that you need to develop. Like I said earlier, we're going to discuss this later during the interactive section. So I go straight to, aside these 3 levels of competencies, how do you build these competencies? It is very important for us to understand how we build personal competencies. You know, when I was listening to the 3 levels of competencies, I mentioned personal competencies, interpersonal competencies, and business competencies. Now, how do you build personal competencies? That is very important for us as individuals. It's very, very important for us as individuals. Now, number 1, in building personal competencies, first of all, you need to know how to seek feedback on your performance. And I explained that quickly. How to seek feedback on your performance. When you do a job, you're given an assignment, it is very important for us to learn how to seek feedback on what you did wrong, what you did well, and what you should stop doing. These are things that you need to learn. Why do I say that? Amit Kilantri once said in one of his quotes, and I quote, he says that experts were once amateurs who kept practicing. Experts were once amateurs who kept practicing. Nobody was born with 2 heads. So what you see people do, you too can do it. Only if you're going to be sincere and open to yourself. So in everything that you do, open yourself to feedback. Open yourself to self-appraiser and your team's appraiser. That is one. Secondly, you also need to start taking baby steps. You start taking baby steps. You start taking steps in littles. Don't stay where you are. Determine, instead of watching Big Brother Africa, instead of watching Big Brother Niger, determine to pick up a skill at this time. Determine to build yourself. Pick an area of knowledge that you are interested in and build yourself to the level that you can build yourself to. Don't forget, when you build yourself on a regular basis, you form that habit of building yourself. The habit forms you. Because of our time, I quickly have to run. Because of our time, the other ones, you also will need to learn to listen. Learn to listen. Quickly, what are the existing opportunities that we have? We have several opportunities, online opportunities. You can be a website tester. You can be a web developer. You can, if you're on social media, you like social media, you can be a social media advert manager, and so on and so forth. Because of our time, I would like to hand over to the moderator. Thank you. Then I believe that we can talk more during the interactive section. Thank you so much.
Wow. I wish I heard this when I was younger. Thank you for that insightful discussion into the topic that we are looking at today. Yes, experts are once amateur who kept practicing. If you don't take anything from everything he has said, I want you to keep this with you. He said a lot of things. Your ability to satisfy your customer is a kind of competence. I never knew that. He said skilled and learned abilities to perform a function. I'm sure someone is taking notes, because it's very important for us to hear and do, like the founder had encouraged us during her speech, that we must take notes and take actions. All right, I want to quickly make welcome Mrs. Joy Owo. Let's hear what she has to say on the topic we are looking at today. Mrs. Joy.
Thank you very much for having me here. I want to say a big thank you to Apostle Mrs. Folorusha Lakija and the entire Rose of Sharon Foundation team for having me here today. It's really wonderful to be here. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Deoti, for that insightful presentation. Right. We all know that we live in a very complex environment. The whole world, as we know, is being reshaped by major trends and events. We see that in the climate changes. We see that in globalization, population explosion, acts of terrorism, and the digital disruption that we are currently having at a time like this. And then, of course, the very famous COVID-19. Well, this pandemic has not really been the first one in the history of the world. We've had other pandemics as far back as 1918, and we also saw that it took a lot of lives. But the important thing to note is that in spite of all this, people still found opportunities. People developed strategies to continue in their businesses and to continue in their careers. So I want us to know that life in itself is not fair. A lot of things take place in life, but you have to decide what you want out of life and then go for it. Life will not give you what you deserve. Life will give you what you demand for. So it's very important that you understand that you are responsible for the actions that you take and the results that you get after those actions are taken. Now, looking at our topic today, building personal competences. Thank you so much, Mr. Deoti, once again, for really highlighting competences. But the first question I would like us to even answer before you build your competences, because when you build your competences, you're going to get those results like have been mentioned here. So what route do you want to take in life as a person? You need to understand that very clearly. Do you want to go the route of an entrepreneur, for instance? In other words, you're willing to take risks and ensure that you make profits in your business. Or do you want to take the route of an entrepreneur? That means that you are going to use entrepreneurial skills for the organizations where you work, and thereby you bring profit to that organization. But you are an employee of an organization. That's when you are an intrapreneur. So do you want to be a socialpreneur? Do you want to solve societal problems and deal with issues that affect society? You need to understand that. Or do you want to be a techpreneur? You want to use technology to solve problems and grow your business. Do you want to be a STEMpreneur? Science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Do you want to be even a fintechpreneur? And so many of them. Even a consultpreneur, like I would also add to that. So you must ensure that you understand what you really love to do. Because so many times people get confused and they switch from one path to another because they're not even sure where they have to be in life. That's why we need a lot of counseling and a lot of mentorship to help us in the chosen path that we need to take. I still want to go this route by telling us a very short, giving us a short scenario about a family of 5, for instance. When these kids were growing up, perhaps someone said, I want to be an engineer. Another would have said, I want to be a lawyer. Another would have said, I want to be a businessman. And someone would have said, I want to be a teacher. I want to be a fashion designer. It all depends. But in a family like that, we have such things playing out. And so let's take the engineer, the one that wants to study engineering, for instance. I'm sure that he goes through the four walls of a university because that's the first level of competence that he also requires to start off. And then he goes through the university and completes his education and graduates, probably takes a master's and specializes in an area of engineering. And you know what? He's been dreaming about working for a multinational company. And then, all of a sudden, he goes for interviews, he does his assessment, and he lands that job. Oh my God, he will be so excited. And I tell you, he probably gets that job in a multinational organization, which is a reputable one, and which is well structured. And so he comes in as an entry-level engineer. And that's where the journey begins for him. Remember, he was dreaming as a child to become an engineer. And now he's stepped into that path of career. He's gotten that job, that dream job. Now he's thrown to a career of probably 35 years. 35 long years in this engineering career. Because it's a structured organization, they already have a career developmental path for him. And so he looks at it. He must be intentional and decisive about how to build himself, because he comes in as an entry-level engineer, but he's not going to leave that organization as an entry-level engineer if he builds his competences appropriately. And he is also exposed to a multi-generational workforce. Because it's well-structured, so you have those retiring, like the baby boomers living at the age of 65, 60, 65, and so on. They are exiting the company. And then you have the Generation X that are also in senior management positions, executive management positions. And then you also have the millennials. They are managers right now as a result of their age group in that organization. And then those on the entry level, that's the Gen Zs, the famous Gen Zs. They're very innovative. They are the tech natives. They have all these competencies. They have all the skills that are so technologically inclined, unlike the baby boomers who are known to be very loyal and they like to remain in a particular organization for the rest of their life and they exit. So this engineer, remember, he's coming in as a Generation Z candidate or employee, and he goes into this organization. And then he's faced with this long route to get to that executive level. So he says to himself, how am I going to move from point 1 to point 4? Because there are so many pathways to take. It is his responsibility and his action plan to ensure that he develops the skills required. For instance, if he's a design engineer, he needs to learn about designing softwares. He must build his competencies around those sort of skills. PDMS, SACS, CISA2, and all of that. He requires all of those to be able to continue in his engineering field, if that is his area that he's chosen. He needs the facts and information. He needs that knowledge required. What professional associations does he need to belong to? What certifications does he need to write? What exams does he need to write to get into that point? What character expectations? What attitudes, what attributes, what behavioral patterns? And so also, for the other family members that have chosen to be lawyers or other things, they need to identify the skills they require to grow. In the world of today, like has been mentioned already, you must build those digital skills, emotional intelligence skills, leadership skills, innovative skills, creativity skills, because every opportunity is actually there. But if you don't build the skill that you require, if you don't build the competence that you require, you can't really get there. That engineer would have spent, 10, 15, 20 years if he didn't take responsibility. So I want us to know, listeners today, you have a part to play. You must remain focused. You must remain in a good network, belong to your association, your professional associations, and continue to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Continue to skill, reskill, and upskill. I'd like to pause here, and I'm sure we'll come back during the interactive session for questions. Thank you very much.
Wow, that was a good one. Thank you, Mrs. Joy. Life will not give to you what you want, but life will always give to you what is available. And you must keep learning, unlearning, and keep learning and unlearning. That is the process of success. Thank you. Now, let's go to Mr. Enoch. Mr. Enoch, what do you have to say about today's topic?
Thank you very much. My special regards to the apostle herself, Mrs. Folomosho Lakija, and the viewers back at home. I don't want to bore us with the protocols. I'm going to stand on existing protocols, and I can tell you the two speakers have done a lot of justice to this. But I'm a very practical person, and as a youth, I'm going to be speaking to you viewers at home, and it's because of you I'm actually here, and that is, how do you build your competence? Let us go straight to the ball. The truth is this. As an experienced communication expert and my vast experience interacting with youth, one thing I've come to understand is there's a necessity for every viewers at home. If you got your pen and your paper, just do this right now. You know what to call SWOT analysis. If there's no SWOT analysis in your life, you don't know where you're going, you don't know where you're building your competence, you don't know the background you want to start. And that is why I'm going to be using the economic point of view to help you build your competence, you sitting down and watching at home. What do we call SWOT analysis from the economic point of view? It is called strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. In life, as a youth growing up, of course you have a lot of dreams. You want to be this, you want to be that, you want to build this, you want to have that. But there's a necessity for you to, first of all, take a detailed background of your life. What is your strength? Your strength basically means your talent. It basically means what you are good at, what you can outshine an average person at. Having done that, the next thing that is necessary is this. What are my weaknesses? What are those areas that I lack essential capabilities? What are those areas that I don't have the resources to be better? Then the next thing you look at is the opportunities. Of course, when you combine your strength and your weakness together. Are you looking at me at home? I can see that. So basically, you look at your strengths, you look at your opportunities. And the next thing you do, next is what? Your weakness, your opportunities. What are those things that your strength will offer you over your weakness? And the next thing is your threats. In life, anything you are going to, you want to get involved, there is a competitor. So naturally, that competitor becomes your threat. So as a youth, for instance, you are looking at, okay, I am good at teaching. That is your strength. But I am weak at speaking, which is your weakness. Then it becomes highly imperative. It becomes highly fundamental for you to go ahead and brush up your skills in teaching. That is the competence of teaching. You are good, you want to teach. That is your strength. But you don't know how to teach. Then you need to go back to school, learn, upschool yourself again. Then what is the threat? The threat is this. There are over thousands of graduates on the street who also are teachers or who want to become teachers. Then how do I outshine them? How do I leverage on my strength to be better than them? Now the first thing to do is this. I'm going to use all the available technology that I can or other avenue to build up myself and become somebody who is competent enough to be what I am able. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Viewers. Now, having done that, the next thing you do, which is a threat, you've understood your threat, then you go ahead and launch out. And I'm going to wrap up with it because of time. You see, there was a research carried out recently by United Nations, and they found out that there are 7 important jobs for you to build your competence. If you are not on that line, in the next couple of 50 years, people will forget you. Do I say 50 years? I think it's 5 years. So the truth is this. What are those jobs? I think you need to know. And I'm going to build it around to call the family hierarchy of needs. And which is what? Food, which is information, which is security, which is safety and health. If there's anything you are doing within the first 21st century we are, in a space of years, and you are not within this jurisdiction, it will be quite difficult for you to outshine your neighbors. Then what do I need to do? How does my competence level or my strength fall within these areas I've mentioned? Like, can I show you something? Every profession in the world falls within the hierarchy of needs. Are you there with me? So there's a necessity, having done that, understanding your SWOT analysis of your life. You know, I interact on daily basis, Mr. Ken, with a lot of youths. And they come to my office. I remember when I was in the UK, and there was a particular guy, he was 27 years old, and he said, you know what, I am good at playing football. Aside from that, I'm good in sport. But I asked him one single question. He said, good in football? I said, can you tell me one particular player in Man U that you are? And I mean, Manchester. He was racking his brain. And I told him, if I'm to hire you, I'm not going to hire you. Because you only have the strength, but you have refused to look at your weakness and your threats. So there's a necessity for you to get yourself abreast of the knowledge of the field you find yourself. One other thing I'm going to tell you to go on with this. I have discovered with my interaction with you when you come to competence level building is that they lack what we call relationship management. And let me tell you, in life, for you to take a step further in anything you lay your hands upon, there's a necessity, become highly imperative of you to have what we call people's management skills. There's no profession in the world that will try without what you call people's management skills. And that's what you call customer relationship management. Having put all these things in place, don't forget your SWOT analysis. Can we go back again? It's your strengths, your weakness, your opportunities, and your threats. Once you draw that particular line around your life, I can assure you in a space of years, you would have become much better, like you rightly said. There's never been an expert without the amateur stage. So don't worry, you see that back at home, you can do it. And because you know what, you have all it takes. But you know what you need to do for me? In this present change, there's a necessity for you to keep upscaling your skills. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Enoch. In this present reality, you need to constantly upgrading your skills. Thank you, sir. With this, we want to go on a short break. Then we'll quickly look at a few questions that we have received from our audience from all over the country. Welcome back. Now, over to you, Mr. Adioti. I have a question here from Joy. Her question goes like this. A lot of opportunities have been highlighted here today, of course, we know that. But my issue is how to connect the what and the how. Could you please throw more light on how to tap into these opportunities?
Okay, how to connect the what and the how in all of these opportunities. Okay, that's a very good question. You know what, while we're speaking earlier, one of the speakers was mentioning that you need to also do a SWOT analysis. Right? First of all, I would like you to know that there's a popular cliche that says that opportunity plus preparation equals to performance. So sometimes when opportunity comes and you're not prepared for it, you can't take advantage of it. So that takes us back to, first of all, you need to do what we call a skills gap analysis or competency gap analysis. Or, to make it brief, a SWOT analysis, where you need to know where exactly can you fit in all of these opportunities that abounds. Where exactly can you fit in? Where does your passion lies? So when you identify, oh, my passion lies in, I'm just interested, I just like anything social media. I just like anything training. I just like online business. I just like anything automobile. Once you are able to discover where your passion lies, and you are able to itemize those things that you need to do. One other thing that you also need to do is like look at where you want to be in that area of your passion in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. Let's say that you want to be an automobile engineer in the next 10 years. What are the competencies and skills that are required for you to be an automobile engineer? So do a gap analysis between those skills and competencies to the one that you currently possesses. So there's going to be a gap. So the work for you is how to cover this gap. And there are several resources online after you must have done this to help you. We have different websites that can help you to build your competence and skills. Go to Udemy. We have Udemy. We have Hotspot Academy. We have Lynda, lynda.com, lynda.com. That's also another. You have EDX. Is also, you have Coursera. Several resources. Write any of these down. Coursera, Udemy, EDX, lynda.com, LYNDA. And you're going to get available online resources for you to be able to build your skills and competencies, and also for you to be able to take advantage of these opportunities. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Mr. Enoch, the next question is addressed to you. This is a question from Faith. She's asking, at this time like this, what opportunities does society make available for an average youth?
Thank you for that question. Let me give you this quote, and I love the quote very well. It said the biggest sources of golden opportunities only come when there is friction. Whenever there is friction, then they're about a particular opportunity. Secondly, let me say this to Mr. Faith. The truth is this: the society that we have today, looking at Nigeria as a particular perspective, will never give you your daily bread. In what sense? We never hand over to you an opportunity. But the third thing is this: I haven't realized that you need to go out to look out for opportunities yourself. And how do you look out for opportunities? Is that I mentioned something about the hierarchy of needs and the SWOT analysis. The truth is this: there's something in you that nobody can do as you. There's something in you that the world is looking for. And I tell people, if you are ever going to look out for opportunity, then you must also embrace problem. So the truth is this: to every problem going on in Nigeria, there is a solution to it. And that solution lies your strength that equally gives you wealth. Let me wrap up with this. When the COVID-19 was, everybody were running eta-sketa, I know a young man who studied mechanical engineering, University of Benin. He looked at it very well. He went back to dust his book and was one of the first 5 persons in Lagos State that came out to what we call the pedal and wash. And today, I can tell you that the last time I had to contract one to him at the rate of 250,000. And he told me, he said, sir, in truthfulness, how much in making this thing is just about 50,000 naira. But he saw problem and he saw the need. So the first thing is this: for you to see need opportunity, there's a necessity for you to see a problem. Once you see a problem, go for it with the competence level you have and informations online. Then I can assure you, you'll be the next Dangote. Thank you.
Wow, the next Dangote. I'm waiting to hear from you. Thank you so much, sir, for that. Yes, Mr. Duty, what do you have to say about that question?
Okay, just like Mr. Enoch said, see, when you go out of your houses, just look for problems. In every problem, there is an opportunity. Now, you know, one of the ways of building competence is also asking the right questions. So you begin to ask yourself, for this problem, how can I find a solution to this problem? How can I find a solution to this problem? But by and large, you know one beautiful thing about building competencies? When you build competencies, you can also create your own opportunities. You can also create your own opportunities. Look at the likes of Facebook and so on and so forth. You have to get yourself acquainted, right, to building competencies and developing your skills to be able to also create your own opportunities, you know. But for every problem, there is a corresponding opportunity, solution to it.
That is a good one. When you build your competence, you are creating opportunities. So do not sit down and expect the society to make anything available for you. We've been a while in this country. It has never happened, and I don't know if it will ever happen. Rise up and take charge of your life. Own your destiny. All right. Mrs. Joy, I have a question here for you. This is from Kunle. Kunle said, is asking, in a time of change as what we have with the recent COVID-19 pandemic, how do I showcase myself and business, A lot of companies are downsizing, not recruiting, and people are not spending as much as before. How can I project myself and brand to succeed?
Thank you very much for that question. It would interest you to know that in this COVID season, or this pandemic season, a lot of people have also been employed. They got their jobs virtually, and they've started working virtually. In fact, statistics from Jobberman shows that they had over 1,000 jobs in the month of July advertised. eRecruiter, over 700 jobs. Even Loanadec company had over, I don't know how many now, but so many jobs advertised. And people have been given job opportunities. But what you need to do is find out, like has been said here over and over again, what are the requirements for that job. So it's not just about going for a job, applying for a job. Do you have the required competencies for that job? Do you have what it takes? Have you researched the organization? Have you researched the company? Because the opportunities are there. They might be hidden to you, but they are open to several others who can see the opportunity as it presents itself. So really what it means is that even though companies are shutting down, new companies are springing up at the same time. So you must find out your strength, like has been said here, find out your route for your life. Do you want to be an entrepreneur? You might be looking for a job and your passion might really be to start off a business. So you need to look inwards first. That's what I would say to that question. But the jobs are really, really there.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Owo, for that. Okay, Mr. Enoch.
Yes.
You appear as if you have something to add to what she has said.
Okay, let me just say this. You know, there's this mindset we have that it's until I become an entrepreneur, I'm going to be successful. I want to tell the youths at home, take that off your mind. We've seen, there's this thing, I'm not a motivational speaker, at the same time I motivate. But there's this thing over the years that has become a trend. And that is that we tell you youth seated here, except you go and get your own business, you won't. No, it's practically a lie. You can as well train up yourself, like the two speakers said. Look out for requirements for different positions in companies. Look how you can fit for it. You can as well apply. And let me tell you something. Don't wait for companies to put out vacancy before you apply. And I'm going to give you a good example. I know two ladies who came to meet me. They had no job. One finished from University of Benin as the best graduating student in what to call mentorship part of education, early childhood education. And when she met me, she said, "Oh, there's no job." I said, "You know what? Sit down. Look at the top schools in Lagos State. Repackage your CV as a professional." I helped her repackage the CV, and I said, "You know what? Pick 50 schools in a week. Pick up their email addresses and send your CV to them." She looked at me and said, "Well, they are not. There's no vacancy." I said, "You just try it." After doing it, exactly a month later, 5 schools called her. After going for 5 interviews, 2 actually gave her the job. Go out. And for those who want to be business, whatever, who want to be business developers or businessmen and businesswomen, there are opportunities outside there for you. Just look at it. And I know that despite this COVID-19, you can get a lot of businesses. Like we said, some people are producing sanitizer on a daily basis and they are making money. Don't forget, schools will soon resume. You don't have to go to the route of selling nose mask or other. I know a guy is an ICT guy. He discovered that most secondary schools and primary schools in Lagos, most of their teachers are ICT backward. And he did a proposal from his corner of his room and sent out to 20 schools in Lagos, 20 schools in Ibadan, and 20 schools in Abuja and Port Harcourt. Should I tell you right now, he has over 10 schools who have asked him to train their teachers on virtual training. You can also do that. You don't have to wait for people. Thank you.
All right, good one. Thank you, Mr. Enoch. Opportunities are always there. And that is why we are here for you today, to let you know how you can actually harness this opportunity to make yourself relevant, even in a time of change like this. You know, while Mr. Adjoti was talking, he mentioned something that your ability to satisfy your customer is also a kind of competence. There are people that you can't afford to do business with them more than once. last week, somebody called me, oh, auntie, I got into trouble with my client. He gave me a job, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what happened, I misused the money, and now I'm trying to go back to him. And the guy said, never. I actually called the guy, and he said, madam, please, if you have other things to do, don't bother me. I don't have time. What the guy was doing for him before, now he had like 3 people doing the same thing for him, and they are doing it even cheaper without stress. So the other guy what has he done? He has cut off that opportunity. So you must be able to, in whatever you do, make sure, learn this today, that your ability to satisfy your customer is a kind of competence. All right, we are moving forward. This question goes to Mr. Dioti again, and it's coming from Shade. The question goes like this. As a youth, can my dreams ever be bigger than me?
Okay, thank you, Shade, for that question. That's a very important question, wonderful question. Okay, first of all, as a youth, you should actually dream bigger. And when I hear people say that they're dreaming big, the dream is bigger than them, to me, it says something positive. It says that you have the mental capacity for you to be able to think outside of the box, irrespective of the limitations, seemingly physical limitations around you. So dreaming big has that ability to positively impact you to move forward in life. It is always very good to dream. However, dreaming big is on one side. Working towards the actualization of your dream is on the other side. So when you dream big, it's good. But you must know, as youth, as entrepreneur, that you need to also sit down and be truthful to yourself. Find out areas where you are lacking and begin to build towards the actualization of your dreams. That is the only way that you can achieve your dream. We made mention earlier that Brian Tracy said the future belongs to the competent, not to the dreamers. It belongs to those who are very good at what they do, not those who are well-meaning at what they do. So to dream big is good, but you need to also take pen and paper, highlight areas where you are lacking, and begin to work towards covering those gaps and building up your competence. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It is not a crime to dream big, but in your big dream, you must make sure that it's something that is doable. Don't wake up and think you want to become Dangote overnight. Dangote started somewhere, so you have to start somewhere. And when you start, you must make sure you have the competencies that will take you from the lowest level to the top. All right. Mr. Enoch, this question is for you and is from Abiodu. He's asking that the older generation seems not to be giving way for the youth, especially in Nigeria. Kindly advise the Nigerian youth on this experience.
All right. Let me quickly say this because of our time. I know most of you have questions and answers. Those of Sharon have their email. Do not hesitate to send email because we can't take all the questions. I'm going to respond to this. The truth is this. There's no society where you are that everybody wants to give you better to hit immediately. Regardless of what the society holds, as a youth, there are 3 spheres of life that can determine who controls. That's the political, economic, and the spiritual. Find a place in that, start developing yourself. You want to go into politics, have you registered with a political party? Get yourself registered. You want to go into the aspect of business, what that particular trade, what have you learned about it? Go ahead and brush up yourself. So the truth is this, the youths, I don't believe they are the future leaders. I tell people they are the leaders of today. In that small unit, that cell you find yourself, you are a leader. Just keep building yourself and preparing yourself. Like in Boy Scouts, they say be prepared always. When opportunities only meet those who are prepared. And as you do so, I can assure you, you are very close. And sky is the starting point for you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Keep building yourself until you get there. I think this is the last question we have for today. And this is coming from Olushola and is targeted at Mrs. Owo. This is the question, ma. It says, I have done everything on my side. In fact, I'm 100% ready to implement my business plan. But one thing holding me back is capital. Please, what advice do you have for me?
Thank you very much, Olushola. I must commend you for having your business plan ready, because that's also very key, because you must have taken time to prepare the business plan. However, I must say that your business plan could be ready, but remember that in your business model or your business plan or ideas, you must have identified several streams of getting your revenue. Sometimes your capital is not outside. Your capital might be inclusive in even the plan you have packaged. I'll tell you a short story. Somebody just decided that I'm going to do an online business and also had another business and was looking for money to do this business. But for the online business, she actually found out that she didn't require any money to run the business and start receiving income. And from the income she generated from that online aspect of her business, she was able to comfortably run that business. So she didn't require funding again. So you need to really look inwards, look again critically at your business idea and what you really want to offer. Look at your different revenue streams, and I think you would find the answer there. Thank you.
And that is just it. Thank you so much for your time here with us today. And with this, we have come to the end of our Youth Empowerment Program 6th edition, August 15, 2020. But before we go, I understand there are a lot of youth that are going through addiction problem. And this is a problem that requires one-on-one interaction. If you have such problems, I want you to, we already have our phone number on the flyer and on our website. Kindly send us an email or do call us. We have people who are experienced in that area to also help you come out of it and take over your destiny. God bless you. Until next edition of the Rose of Sharon Foundation Youth Empowerment Program, stay blessed and God bless you. Thank you.